ladies first.
Which is fine. That is an intense situation. I think that's why they're so intense when they call you parent. Like they're just so intense.
How much you pay attention to college
It's like
football?
everything has, you know, I've never been afraid like anything like in a city or whatever, but like when I get out on the highway, I'm just like, I literally like I am not talking to a highway. It's not happening.
I mean, I know.
I'm like I am not doing this.
Pack.
They're kind of full.
Yeah, they're having their meetings like right now to for all their media deals and all that stuff. And yeah.
Like the Northwestern guy, he got fired after.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Northwestern. They had a whole bunch of scandals up there.
He got fired after like 20 years on there.
Yeah.
We're down.
So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of all this.
That is so strange.
Are you done? You're done with it?
I'll hold on to it
do this first.
I mean, today we'll kind of make the final decision.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't know if you needed it, so I just thought I would bring it.
Okay.
I mean, we kind of hammered it out, but I'll hold on to it. Thank you.
Oh, Troy's going to do it.
Yeah.
Got a pinch.
I know.
A pinch.
Yeah, so we're close to actually having grand
Person. A pinch.
Yeah,
Closer
came in
than you
clutch.
were.
That's the new thing that kids say now.
How are you? Good?
Came in clutch.
That's awesome.
I thought it might be like a 10-year-old thing
I do not know what it means.
from the last decade.
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Oh, 1 o'clock. All right, it is 1 o'clock, time for our regularly scheduled commission meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am.
Today, Commissioner Unruh will do the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Everyone, please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow. Father, we come to you this day. We are so grateful to be gathered here in this incredible city that you have given us to serve. And Father, today we ask you to protect each and every one of our first responders. Father, we also just ask you to protect all of our utility workers who are out there continually fixing and keeping things going. And we know the hot weather can only magnify that. We're so grateful for the way in which you have provided for us. Thank you for continuing to bless our city. Now we give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Next up is approval of the minutes. Did commissioners get a chance to look at those? Any changes? Okay, they stand approved. Up next is public comment. This is a time for anybody to come up and talk about anything that is not on the agenda. You will have 5 minutes, and when you do come up, please state your name. Okay, all right. Next up is petitions and memorials and remonstrations.
That's the hardest word.
I know, remonstrations. All right. Yeah, we're ready for you, ma'am.
6A, the governing body is asked to consider allowing the mayor to proclaim August 1st, 2023 as Javier Hernandez Day in Garden City, Kansas.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the proclamation as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I will go ahead and I will read this. And we've got a lot of people who are wanting to be in it, and so then we can do a picture afterwards. So I'll wait for everyone to get in. All right. There's still more seats. All right. Is that everybody? Okay. All right. Whereas Javier Hernandez began working for the City of Garden City as a 911 dispatcher on January 8, 2001, and whereas Javier Hernandez has served in many roles including 911 dispatcher, master communications officer, and communications supervisor, which he has held since September 28, 2014, and whereas Javier Hernandez provided leadership within the police department and in the community. Whereas Javier Hernandez will retire from employment with the City of Garden City on August 1st, 2023, after 22 years of service. And whereas Javier Hernandez will be regarded as one of the hardest working, most dedicated, and most recognizable public servants in Garden City's history. Now therefore, I, Deb Euler, Mayor of the City of Garden City, Kansas, do hereby proclaim August 1, 2023 as Javier Hernandez Day in Garden City, Kansas, and urge all citizens to acknowledge and express their sincere appreciation and thanks for his service to this community and commend him for the manner in which he has carried out his responsibilities and duties for the City of Garden City. Signed and sealed this day, first day of August 2023. Congratulations.
Come down.
Yeah.
Picture of
So if any of the communicators want to go up and jump in the picture?
All right. Congratulations.
Yeah. Everybody. Real quick. Thanks.
Hopefully good.
Javier, one more.
You're so comfortable back there.
Small big. Bigger.
Item 6B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Black Hills Energy to allow the mayor to proclaim August 11th, 2023 as 811 Day in Garden City, Kansas.
I'll make the motion that we approve the proclamation as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I'll go ahead and I'll read this. Okay. Whereas thousands of times each year, the underground infrastructure in Kansas is damaged by those who fail to contact 811 to have underground lines located prior to digging, resulting in service interruption, environmental damage, and threats to public safety. And whereas in 2005, the Federal Communications Commission designed 811 to provide contractors and homeowners with a simple number to contact utility operators to request the location of underground lines at the intended dig site. And whereas Kansas 811 provides one point of contact available by phone and online to help reduce damages to underground facilities, thereby reducing the loss of service to the public and the loss of time and money to contractors, utilities, and taxpayers. And whereas Black Hills Energy maintains its commitment to educate the public about safe digging practices and encourages compliance with local and state safe digging rules and regulations. And whereas damage prevention is a shared responsibility, by using safe digging practices, city contractors and homeowners can save time, money, and help keep Kansas infrastructure safe and connected. Now therefore, be it resolved, I, Deborah Euler, Mayor of the City of Garden City, Kansas, do hereby proclaim August 11th, 2023 as 811 Day in Garden City, Kansas, to encourage everyone to call 811 before they dig. It's safe, it's free, and it's the law. 811 Day in Garden City, and encourage everyone to call before they dig. I'm sorry, it's twice. Signed and sealed this first day of August, 2023. You want to-
Red, you want to say a couple words?
Yeah, I can do that. I just want to say that we do appreciate this. As far as the city goes, as far as Wheatland, all of the different utilities that have infrastructure in the ground, you've seen we've had to block streets, we've had to evacuate neighborhoods, and this simple procedure, calling 811, is such a big deal for the safety of our community. We can resolve a lot of issues, we can save a lot of people, save a lot of time and a lot of money if we can just get people to understand this is a free call and it helps them, it avoids costs that they could incur because of damages that they've created by not utilizing these things. And when we have issues with 811, it shuts down traffic, it shuts down people's lives for time, especially in the summertime. You know, something is hit, we lose electricity, it's 100+ degrees outside. That puts people at risk in a lot of different ways, not just from not having the things that they need, but also the cost incurred and the dangers when you have an open electrical line or gas line or communications line, things like that. So we really do appreciate the support of the community, the county, and the state to make sure that we can get this information out and make it better known. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7A, we are excited to introduce Parks and Recreation Director Tisha Hurd as the new senior management team member for the City of Garden City. Welcome, Tisha. And I'll now invite Chiefs Ersick and Pruitt up to present the 2023 fireworks report.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Chief Pruitt and I here to present the 2023 fireworks report. So like previous years, the primary focus in the early stages of fireworks season is to get the education to the community, the rules and regulations, what's consumer grade, what's commercial grade. Through that, we were able to reach 1,000 different contacts, the inspections of tents, fire safety talks, and a variety of just patrolling. And then also pushing education material produced by communications department, getting out to the people, whether it's a handout or through social media. So we go to the next slide. So the social media campaign, a huge difference this year. We were able to grow up to 83,000 and a total engagement of 94,000 people. Through social media, safety brochures that were handed out and or shared on social media through all different various platforms of the city. So, the next slide.
So we'll talk a little bit about some of the violations that were reported and we responded to. I think what you're going to hear this theme probably quite a bit. Weather played a big role in helping us out quite a bit. Yeah. So not something that we can count on It would be nice if we could.
Yeah,
So,
it would be.
We had 38 violations reported to us, but we only responded and issued warnings on 8 of those. A lot of times we respond and we can't locate it, or there's multiple, and we just kind of do an education piece. So, but weather definitely played a big role in that, and we were thankful for that.
And you talk right at the chart, as you can see, a significant decrease in the fires resulting from fireworks in the city limits, nearly more than half. The big one to the bottom right would be the property loss. This year was only $300 compared to 2000 last year, so a significant decrease in fireworks-related fires and damage caused by fireworks. Pretty quiet year out in the county. 2 of the 7 townships that Garden City Fire Department correct or protects only had 3 calls, 1 related in Sherlock and 2 in Garden City Township. Other than that, it's pretty uneventful throughout the rest of the county.
This is a by-day breakdown for both departments of the fireworks violations. I'm not going to sit here and read it to you. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer. As you can see, pretty low volume of violations and everything worked out. This is a map kind of showing just where the different violations were reported throughout the city. No place we can really focus on, because I know my neighborhood, we probably can focus there because it's pretty loud.
So the next slide tells us something we know. As it gets darker, increased fireworks go up. So during those dark hours, and a lot of time that we would see an increase in the late hours of July 4th by day. So next, as anything, we'd like to evaluate what we did, what we can do better. All in all, we believe this is a successful year in our fireworks season for Benton County and Garden City. Kind of moving down the list, we'll enhance the social media. Get this working, we're reaching people. We want to educate them, the rules, regulations, what the do's and don'ts of fireworks, make sure everybody saves. So.
We, down at the 3-hour lot, we kind of, with the weather that rolled in that night with the fireworks show, we ran into a problem that, just something that we don't account for, because we had to shoot off the fireworks sooner than we expected. That messaging and that, the people were expecting to come down and see, so we had a lot of people going out and we had a lot of people coming in. So it was just something that I don't know that we ever have to plan for or could plan for, but more barricades, and we know with some of the parties that people have with 4th of July, barricades are at a premium. So when we don't have barricades, we put officers, so we just have to staff up a little bit more. It didn't cause us any big problems, just we had a lot of people that we had to tell them, I'm sorry that fireworks were already shot off. So
On the other part, has something new for the past several years is continuing to patrol with law enforcement, help them not get overwhelmed with the attempt to locates, having firefighters present out to help set the fireworks down so we're not overwhelming the police. It's tried and true, we believe in it, and definitely a recommendation for next year. Through the fire department side, we minimum staff up to 12 that day. I do an on-call list. I think we want to put 24 firefighters on duty that day. Although an uneventful year, continued staffing levels, it's working. It's a model that we trust. So.
Some other stuff that we always like to talk about, we're always of the volition that discharge dates and sell dates need to match up. That's just from our standpoint. It makes it a little bit easier for us to manage all the things, but we understand that some other people don't like that. So, but thought we would at least socialize that.
With that, would be the end of the presentation. We're open to any questions. If you have any comments or questions you'd like to ask.
I did have several people that they talked about, shooting off early, but I know that the setup, but I don't think people realize how long it takes to set everything up. I mean, it's not like you just run out there and stick a thing in the ground and go. So I know that the setup takes like 2 or 3 hours at least, and I don't think people realize, I think that's where the confusion came from, that, when you've set it all up, there's really no way to tear it all down. I mean, that quickly with the storm. And so I explained to them that, there's this huge setup. They want to make sure it's a great show, but again, that you had no choice. And so I'm assuming assuming I'm correct. I didn't get a chance to check with you before, but I know that the setup does take a long time, so.
And most of them are cardboard and the water.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Lightning and
Yeah, that's, no, I'm glad, yes, I'm glad you got out of there. It's the smartest thing you could have done, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good job.
Yeah.
The remaining reports on the agenda are staff reports. If you have any questions on those, we'd be happy to answer them. Call your attention to the meetings of note, those requiring RSVPs. Please do those through the city clerk's office. We will have 5 Mondays, or I'm sorry, 5 Tuesdays this month, so a town hall meeting on August 29th. I think we're ready for item 9A, that's the appropriation ordinance. And if approved, it would be ordinance number 2584-2023A.
Mayor, I move that we approve appropriation ordinance number 2584-2023A.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10A through E, all of these are nuisance resolutions. I'll have Alicia Charles come up with the NDS department and read through the first item with some detail. The subsequent items, B through E, will simply give you the resolution number and the address name. All the other processes are identical. So the first one, item A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution to abate conditions at 2103 North 7th Street. And if approved, this would be resolution number 3028-2023. Alicia?
Mayor and Commissioners, the governing body of the City of Garden City has declared it unlawful for any person to maintain nuisance conditions on private property within the City of Garden City. It has been determined that the residence located at 2103 North 7th Street has an environmental nuisance condition on the property and is in violation of the city's environmental codes. There is a refrigerator and couch located on the property. Staff has visited the property on many occasions and have been notified by 2 order of violations since June 7th and June 28th, 2023. The property owner and the residents were unable to be reached and no contact was attempted by the property owners according to section 38-137 of the Environmental Code of Ordinances, and have neither abated the nuisance condition nor requested a hearing before the governing body. The attached resolution will allow staff to mitigate the environmental nuisance on this property. Your alternatives are the governing body may approve the attached resolution, or the governing body may not approve the attached resolution. Staff recommends the governing body approve the attached resolution, and for the fiscal note, the abatement costs incurred by the city shall be charged against the lots or parcels of ground on which the environmental nuisance is located.
I move to approve resolution 3028-2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10B, if approved, would be resolution 3029-2023, abating conditions at 2102 North Main Street.
I move to approve resolution 3029-2023.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C, if approved, would be resolution 3030-2023, would abate conditions at 161 Shamrock Street.
I move to approve resolution 3030-2023.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, if approved, would be resolution 3031 and would abate conditions at 215 North Taylor Avenue.
I move to approve resolution 3031-2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item E, would, if approved, would be 3032-2023, and if approved, would abate conditions at 306 North 4th Street.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 3032-2023.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
Item 12A, the governing body is asked to consider changes to the 2024 city budget so that the notice of hearing to exceed the revenue neutral rate and the budget hearing for the 2024 city budget can be prepared. Jared?
Good afternoon. The City Commission was presented information at the July 6, 2023 meeting, which has now been incorporated into the 2024 budget. The changes made to the budget include removal of the Human Resources Generalist position for 2024, removal of $550,000 in the police and fire budgets for a mobile command unit, removal of $200,000 in the zoo budget for implementation of smart water practices at the zoo, utilizing $200,000 of the KMA credits received for downtown development incentives, utilizing $300,000 of the KMA credits received for the Capital Improvement Plan Fund, utilizing $200,000 of the KMA credits received for the roof repair of the recreation building, and utilizing $250,000 of the KMEA credits as a transfer to the general fund. It includes $350,000 for McGrath pay plan updates and increases the general fund revenues by $56,500. These changes result in a final mill levy rate of 38.378, consistent with the current rate for 2023. The amounts for downtown development incentives and capital improvement plan fund have been reduced from what was presented at the July 6, 2023 meeting to diminish the amount of adjustment needed to general fund revenue projections. Downtown development incentives have been reduced by $50,000 and capital improvement plan fund has been reduced by $200,000. The reduced amount is instead being transferred to the general fund, which allows general fund revenues to be adjusted by $56,000 instead of the $306,500 that was presented at that meeting. With the City Commission's consideration and approval of the changes listed above, the 2023 notice of hearing to exceed revenue neutral rate and budget hearing can be prepared. A draft notice is included with this item. The draft notice incorporates a flat mill levy of 38.378. The governing body elects to choose an alternative separate from what now presented in the draft notice. The appropriate changes will be incorporated by staff, and the notice will be prepared and published by staff before the August 15th meeting to ensure compliance with the publishing requirements for the revenue neutral rate hearing and budget hearing. The public hearing on the revenue neutral rate and budget is scheduled for September 5th, 2023 at 1:30 p.m. The alternatives for you today are to approve the budget as presented and authorize staff to publish the notice of hearing to exceed revenue neutral rate and budget hearing, or the governing body may provide direction to staff of additional adjustments to be made to the budget and authorize staff to publish the notice of hearing to exceed revenue neutral rate and budget hearing. Staff recommends the governing body approve the budget as presented and authorize staff to publish the notice of hearing to exceed revenue neutral rate and budget hearing. And the fiscal note is that all of this is very much fiscal. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time, but if there are any recommendations or adjustments that any of the commissioners would like to incorporate into the notice before we set it out, now would be time. And I would just remind you that when we publish the notice, whatever rate we indicate, you can always decrease from there, but we are not going to be able to increase beyond that point.
Okay. Any questions?
I just want to make sure, the $350,000 for the McGrath pay plan, that keeps us on par with, because I know we did that pay plan study, and which was, I thought was really valuable, and so that keeps us up to date, and we aren't diminishing.
It's an assumed number. The McGrath is currently reviewing our pay plan, and so we're assuming that we have fallen slightly behind market with the increases in inflation and such that's going on in the region and nationally. And so we're setting aside that as an anticipation that they're probably going to come back and recommend that we adjust up our pay plan to catch back up. That's a number that we determined that really might be a little bit more, might be a little less.
Okay.
That was kind of a ballpark we were assuming.
So your best guess, your best estimate. Okay.
Once we get the recommendation back, we'll have a better feel for what exactly that impact is in the budget.
Great, thank you. Thanks for including it. I think it's important.
Any other? I know that Commissioner Ortiz did email. He could not be here today, and so I didn't want anyone to be in the audience to be confused that it would be mine or anybody else's comments, and so I've asked Matt to go ahead and read his email.
Sure, Mayor, thank you, and we appreciate Commissioner Ortiz sending his thoughts in for the rest of you to to hear. Again, those are Commissioner Ortiz's comments. To my knowledge, this will be the ceiling of our proposed mill rate that we send in, and so the next approval on August 15th will be to hold that mill rate ceiling or lower it to a smaller, not larger mill rate. The big picture for me is knowing that the city is growing and we are in need of staff, equipment, and facilities to accommodate a growing community. If you look at our housing goal of some number under 4,000 now alone, we are adding streets, infrastructure, and life safety responders that will be needed in the future. As we are presented with this year's budget and assessment, we see that this is leading us into possible cuts in departments, staff, and equipment. I'm hopeful for a positive outcome with revenues coming in. I'm hoping our future leaders aren't led into making a decision that is hard to swallow at a future time. That being said, I believe we have to look at an increase in small increments versus the larger ones in the future. To me, this will help safeguard our city now and in the future. I realize our goal is to master a flat mill rate or even decrease it, but my vote today would be to have a ceiling set at the 1 mill increase. Going in with a higher ceiling allows us to come down if we decide to and doesn't paint us in a corner. I am behind the commission's decision. Unless we are deciding to decrease the mill rate, then my vote would be nay.
Okay, thank you.
Again, those were Commissioner Ortiz's comments that he asked to be shared with the commission.
All right, thank you for reading those.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to make any comments?
I just want to thank the staff for going through the budget and meeting, I think, the overall commission's goal of keeping the mill levy flat. It's hard to, and like Commissioner Ortiz said, we're a growing community, but we also have to make sure that we're mindful of the taxpayers and being very considerate of all the revenue that we collect from the taxpayers. So that's where I'm at, is keeping it flat.
I'd just like to say thanks to the departments that took extra, somewhat voluntary cuts. I mean, there's a goal, but so voluntary can be construed in different ways. But thanks to HR and police and fire and zoo for being willing to take some of that to try to hit that goal that we're setting as a commission. So just thanks to them and to everybody else, like Commissioner Cessna says, that it takes a lot to be able to keep even flat when we're growing, like Commissioner Ortiz says. Not every community can even keep a flat mill rate, especially when we're talking about inflation like we've seen. So thanks to everybody, and Jared and your team too, for getting us to the point where we're even at today.
Yeah, I agree. I know that when I think about the people who live in Garden City and what they're probably going to be going through as far as with inflation and school costs and just an increase overall in living, that it is kind of a nice thing to be able to keep it at a flat mill rate. And I do also appreciate the staff's willingness and the department's willingness to go ahead and understand, in order to keep it at a flat mill rate, these are the things that need to happen. But I also want to commend you, Jared, because I think you did a really good job of leading all of us in budget discussions and articulating kind of where we needed to take things and just kind of what that path looked like to get us to this point. And so I do understand that it does mean that for some departments, maybe there'll be some sacrifices here and there, but I know that from a community's perspective, I think that keeping it flat is this is probably a good year to be able to do that without putting any more burden on the taxpayer. So.
Yeah, and I do want to say, like I said, I really appreciate, as the other commissioners have intimated, that it's important that, finances, as you said, touches every department. And so really it's a whole city working together and coming together. I know the theme years ago, and the theme that we continue to hold in Garden City is pulling together. And I think that as a city that we really exemplify that. And I know there are some hard decisions, and I think the decisions that have been made are extremely wise and that we're moving forward. And I appreciate, we have an incredible as a city that we're growing, which is both, both a blessing and, there's a lot of things, a lot of growing pains. So I appreciate the new software. I thought this is the first budget that you did with it. I thought it was excellent and really excellently presented and made it much easier to read. And so I really appreciate your work.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the budget as presented and authorize staff to publish the notice of hearing to exceed the revenue neutral rate and budget hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
Item 12B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the first half 2023 semi-annual report for the Community Development Block Grant Revolving Loan Fund.
I move that we approve the semi-annual report for the period ending June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
Second, sorry.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an amendment to AIA document B101 2017, the contract between the City of Garden City and the architect regarding architectural services for Station Number 3.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. After completing a review, staff found the need to amend the existing contract with the architect. The existing contract was signed in 2017. Since that time, there have been significant changes in cost of material, lead times required, and product delivery methods. Staff met with the architect and discussed several changes to the contract. Through several meetings, both parties were able to come to an agreement on 20 amendments. The primary change made were related to the construction process. Originally, the contract was written to be a design bid build process. However, after receiving no proposals during the initial bid process, we have revised the process to reflect the construction manager at risk. I was updated as the department representative in Crossing Construction was identified for pre-construction services. Additionally, the fee plan for the architect was broken down to reflect the current budget amount until the final guaranteed maximum price is determined. The alternatives for you, the governing body may approve and assign amendment number 1 to the AIA document B101 2017. 2, the governing body may deny the request and provide additional guidance. Staff recommends alternative 1. Physical note on this, the sales tax is 45.
So Chief, I had one question. So on the amendment, and it's number 23, it talks about, so where are we in, the schematic, the design, construction? So how far are we through those phases, where you talk about the percentages paid out? Are we almost to construction phase?
So we're at the construction documentation.
Okay.
And then we had to go back through value engineering, and so we're kind of went there and came back, and now we're almost back.
Okay, almost back
to
there.
the current phase. So
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mayor, I make the motion that we approve and sign the amended number 1 to AIA document B101-2017.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Chief.
Item 12D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an appointment to the Traffic Advisory Committee. Tyler?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. So the Traffic Advisory Committee has 2 of the 5 positions open right now. Current members include Gary Bennett, James McGowan, and Nathan Hake. Carol Turley has submitted an application to be considered for an available committee position. And city staff, along with members of the committee, met with Carol on July 20th. City staff and the members recommend the appointment of Carol. The governing body may approve the appointment for Carol Turley to the Traffic Advisory Board through 2026. This is a 3-year term on this committee. Alternative 2, the governing body may deny the appointment for Carol Turley to the TAC. And number 3, the governing body may give further direction. The committee recommends the governing body appoint Carol Turley to the Traffic Advisory Committee. and there is no fiscal impact on this.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I move that we appoint the appointment of Carol Cricket Turley. I didn't recognize her until I opened up her application to the Traffic Advisory Committee through June 2026.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Tyler.
Item 12E, the governing body is asked to consider and approve staff to release a request for proposal for the city's property and liability insurance coverage for the 2024 year. Seelan.
I'll just stay right here. Mayor and Commissioners, as Matt said, the governing body is asked to consider and approve staff to release a request for proposal for the city's property and liability insurance. Since 2002, the city has worked with Charlesworth Consulting, Mr. James Charlesworth, and he has aided us in our renewal, anything really insurance related. He's aided me in that since 2002. Our current policy ends December 31st with Travelers Insurance. In the past, it's been our intention to go out for proposal every 3 to 5 years. However, in the recent years, that's not always been the case. And coming from the recommendation from James, we have stayed with the incumbent with Travelers and negotiated our contract with them each year. So we went out in 2019 and we had 2 organizations that submitted proposals, and then we also did in 2022, but only 1 person submitted. So this will be the first time going out in a couple of years. Well, so hopefully we get responses. Charlesworth Consulting prepared the attached request for proposal for your review. If we approve this release, proposals will be due back here, the Commission chambers actually, due November 13th, 2023 at noon. And Charlesworth will review those proposals and then make a recommendation to the governing body on the December 5th meeting.
Had one question and kind of a minor thing, but in the estimated population, I know we always look around 31,000, and in the proposal it says 27,519 at 2022. Just is that more in line with the census? Is that what I'm thinking?
I don't think so.
I could check.
Okay.
I could check for you.
It's trivial, but I know and a lot of our financial reports that we put out, it's around 31,000, but.
From the head nods in the crowd, it is census number.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's really hard, though. I mean, with as large organizations we have, and I know it's really hard to get a lot of different, entities or insurance companies to bid. But I mean, does he do anything to encourage other insurance companies to make it more competitive, or is it just a bidding process? I'm just curious about the request proposal.
I'll let Matt answer that.
No, my experience is that he contacts companies and works with brokers too. The way it works is, the brokers express an interest, and then they select even multiple markets themselves, and they kind of go in a, sort of a fantasy football draft order. This guy gets to pick one, this firm gets to pick one, and then they go back and forth. But so it's competitive not just with different underwriters, but also different brokers.
Great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
In the past. I think the request for proposals could open up the possibility that that's done differently, is my understanding. And would that be accurate? Yeah.
I move that we approve the request for proposal as presented and direct Charlesworth Consulting LLC and staff to release the property and liability insurance coverage specifications for December 31, 2023 to December 31st, 2024.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Seelan.
Item F is the consent agenda, and if there aren't any items that you want to pull and discuss separately, the appropriate motion would be to approve item F1 through 4.
I move that we approve item F1 through F4.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Up next is commission reports. Let's see, Commissioner Dick.
Let's give you three.
I had to go down the line there.
You gotta go first
I know,
again.
right.
Before I get to comments, I have a question or an update. Do we have an update on the LEC building with Finney County, how that's going, and the planning and inspection services provided to both cities by the county and city NDS staff?
Yeah, so two questions. One's about the LEC,
Yep.
kind of where we're at on that building. The other's about where we're at in discussions on NDS. So two separate, I'll let you take them in whatever order. It's a race to the microphone.
You beat him.
I'll start with the NDS agreement. We actually have a meeting with the county Thursday morning to kind of continue the discussions there. So since they brought their proposal up before their governing body, this will be our second meeting, kind of as both staffs coming together to kind of continue those conversations and negotiations, for lack of a better term, to figure out kind of what that proposal will look like coming before you all for consideration.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes.
Is there a timeline for meeting, or that's probably premature at this point, maybe?
I think I'll have a much better sense of that after the meeting on Thursday. So if you want, we can do kind of a formal report at your next governing body meeting.
Yep.
And
That
give
would
you
be
guys
good.
kind of a timeline of what we
Awesome.
expect.
Yeah, thank
That would
you.
be good. Thank you.
There's been no update that we've been given formally.
Okay.
I've talked to the sheriff's department, and the last that I was told that they were interviewing architects, the county-wide was interviewing architects to come in and about that. We're not part of that, that process. So,
Okay.
can I answer any other questions?
I think that's it. It's just know where we're at. Haven't heard much since.
good.
So.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, back to the regularly scheduled comments. First, congratulations to Javier, with his retirement and long service. That's tremendous dedication by him, and he will be missed by the city. So I'm glad to be able to acknowledge him. Also, congratulations to Tisha on being hired, and glad to have her aboard. This will be a really good, I think, next couple of years, getting everything going with Parks and Rec. We have our master plan, and so, we got a lot of things going, so glad to have you on board. And then the last thing is, anybody remembers what happened a week from this week, 4 years ago?
Yes. The Tyson fire.
The Tyson fire.
Yes, that's
So, again, there's those things that we do as a city. When we're talking about buying implements, the implements that we do, and having the staff that we have, and the coverage that we have, and is it all worth it? And really, you don't, day to day, we don't utilize all that, but it all becomes worth it the day that it becomes worth it. And so, just trying to keep in mind those pivot points that we have in our community. We always remember the good ones, and this could have been a really bad one. And only because of the preparation that our fire guys had, and the equipment and all the coordination and everything going in, that we're able to contain that fire at Tyson and potentially save the whole economy of Southwest Kansas. So again, on the basically 4-year anniversary of that effort, want to again thank everybody who was involved with that, fire department especially, but all the other law enforcement and everything else that makes these kinds of things work. So try not to forget about that kind of stuff. So that's it.
All right. Commissioner Underwood.
So I also want to congratulate Javier on his 20-plus year, and that's an incredible, where he's at that's a lot of, he serves a lot of people, not only the citizens of Garden City, but also more importantly, his team and the staff. The communications, they might not be seen, but they are incredibly important, and all the things that they do just to protect all of us. So I just want to recognize that. Atisha, I'm also excited about that. You have an incredible staff behind. We're so glad you're here, and your staff is glad you're here, and you have some most incredible people in Garden City to really work with. So we're excited. I mean, no pressure at all. So. But, yeah, with the report. Well, on the report, just do it all if you want in the next couple of years, and you guys can do all that. No, we're excited about that. I did have a question about the Hunden report. I know it's been reported that it's coming out, and I didn't know if it had been released and I had missed it, or I know because I know that was part of the LEC when you talked about that. I thought about.
I believe it's the updated schedule I heard a couple of weeks ago was first part of this week, or first part of August.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact date anymore.
Because I know a lot of things are waiting on that. And so,
or something.
Yeah, a lot of things are waiting on that report, and so, okay. I didn't know if anybody had heard on that or not, so. I also thank you, Red, for coming and talking about 811. Unfortunately, I one time knocked out my own power by digging, even though it was marked, so anyway. I was digging where it wasn't marked, so that's my own fault, and I paid for it, so. I hope, luckily, no one else was impacted by that. But I really appreciate, all of that. I did, I paid attention to the police report, and it was really interesting. I did not realize that the fentanyl, how much of that is coming into Garden City and how much you've collected. And, it's sad, but it's something I know that it's something it's real and it's here. And I know that you're not only doing training, but there's a lot of opportunities that we have as a community to really take care of the people who are struggling from those kind of addictions. I also, a National Night Out is coming tonight, and it is a blast. Make sure you don't overeat. When you're traveling, the last couple of times we've held one at our house, and so we always overeat because we ate every time someone showed up. It was like almost like the dinner bell to eat again, and so we're not going to do that anymore. We've learned our lesson. I do want to talk about the alleys. I know a lot of people, there's several alleys that they're working on, and several that and several people have done, and it is hard with all of the weeds and all of the things, but I really appreciate the city. When the rain event happened, the response from the city, and that just tells you how important the notifications from the city, the weather alerts and all of those, and just the information, like keeping people informed. But I'll tell you, the city and our storms sewer and our wastewater performed at top, and I know that there's no way with that 5 inches in less than an hour and a half that it can do, everything. You plan that event once every 25 years or 30 years, but I really was impressed just from the response of the city. And so I just wanted to say thank you to all of the crews who spent, I don't know how many hours out there in it all, but I'm just glad that they were there. So, and that's all I have.
Commissioner Cessna.
Go along with the other commissioners on Javier, and congratulations on his years of service and retirement from the city. Great employee. Tisha, welcome to Garden City, and wish you well in your position here at the Rec Commission. Traveling around, adding that the water tower at the airport's looking really good with the new logos on both sides. It's pretty awesome. You driving in, and it's like, wow, that's big. So really nice to see the logos and the water tower at the airport. Construction's coming along as well, especially when you do the morning flight. It's all lit up really bright. So when we put the mosaic on, it'll really I think be outstanding with all the glass windows on the land side. I know on the air side they're still working to get the windows in. I noticed on our social media that we have a number of our firefighters that have gone to help out with the wildfires in Alaska. I think that's great that we have people that have that knowledge and experience to do that, and also that we can share our talented staff to go and help out in need, especially almost halfway across the almost world to get to Alaska. And I was out and about, we're getting closer to the start of the school year because I see the street department out painting the crosswalks. I just want to remind everybody that school starts for Garden City Public Schools on August 15th. That's a half-day orientation for kindergarten through fifth grade, sixth grade, or fifth grade, seventh grade, ninth, and 10th grade students, as well as all students new to the district, and that'll be a half-day orientation. So it's right around the corner, everybody. And for that, that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, I always think it's great when we do the proclamations for employees that are retiring, but to see the response from the police department and dispatchers and fellow coworkers, that really is a testament. 22 years, that's just great. It's, I've said for a while now that we have such longevity in many of our employees that this is just one example of somebody who is definitely going to be missed. Also, thank you, Red, for coming and reminding us all to call 811, especially before we're going to dig. I don't mind those flags, especially if I'm getting ready to do any kind of home improvement project. So I had a chance to attend Garden City Parks and Recreation's production this last weekend of Spam-A-Lot, and it was very well done. My hat's off to everybody who was involved in that. I really was entertained for that whole 2.5 hours, and am always, I shouldn't be amazed, but every time I am, just how talented people are in Garden City. I could not get up on stage, so I was really glad I did not sit in that front row where that poor person had to sit up on front stage, or on the front row. But anyway, and thanks for all of the Parks and Recreation crews who also, helped put that on. Speaking of, I have noticed a lot of City of Garden City trucks on the weekends working on a lot of the different storm damage and cleanup and just responding to emergency calls. And if I wave at them, sometimes some of them know who I am. Others just look at me like, who's this crazy lady waving at me? But it's just kind of a way of saying, thank you for taking that extra time away from your families on nights and weekends, and just doing those things that help make our community what it is today. I attended the League of Kansas Municipalities Regional Strategic Planning meeting, and that was a nice opportunity to talk about the League and what they do for cities, and just have an opportunity to have them come to Garden City and again see what we're all about here on this side of the state. And so it's great to have them over here. Last week, Stuff the Bus Distribution gave out 1,253 backpacks on one day. And so that's, again, a testament to our community, and all of that is by donations. People can still get backpacks. The Salvation Army also had some water damage, so they're actually operating out of their SAAC building, which is right down the street on A Street. So you can get backpacks there, or Genesis Family Health has they have an outreach clinic at East Garden Village, and you can get them there as well. Had a nice lunch with BNSF. They brought in one of their antique cars three of their antique cars that they have just refurbished, and it was fun to be able to go. Commissioner Ortiz was there. We had Matt and Danielle, and we had some city staff there, and so it was just a nice opportunity to see what BNSF does in our community. So with that being said, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.